January. So many people dislike it, and certainly in the northern hemisphere it has a bit of a reputation for being a dark and dreary kind of month of abstinence and cold weather and rain, like it's doing a lot of today, and darkness. But I absolutely love it. I love January. The cold is an excuse for excessive amounts of knitwear, and the dark is an excuse for twinkly lights and candles, which I love. The cold weather takes the pressure off having to go out and do anything. You can cosy up indoors with hot drinks and good telly, because there's always lots on at this time of year. We've got lots still recorded to watch from over Christmas as well. And I always go for moderation over abstinence generally. So it's also a good sort of indoorsy time of month, and it tends to be quite slow for all the rush of Christmas and the run up to it over. And it's a good month to kind of look back on the past year and reflect on what worked and what didn't, and maybe look forward to the next year about things you might want to try, adventures you might want to have, and so on. So I thought what I might do in this vlog today, as well as sharing a little bit of my love for January. We went for a little walk a few days ago and I took some lovely footage of the nature on that walk, and hopefully that will give you good feels, good January feels. And now I thought I'd share a little bit about the things I had set out to do at the beginning of the year and tell you what kind of worked for me and what didn't. Sorry about that, just had to change my memory card. So yeah, one of the things I learned in the past year was that I can manage my seasonal anxiety. I do suffer a lot from seasonal affective disorder, but not in the winter months. In the summer months I find the extended light and heat a big problem for my mental health, and certainly in these colder, darker months I do feel a lot better. And I know that most people are the reverse of that, and I know a lot of people have shared here that they're the same, that they feel the same way, that they feel better in the autumn and winter months and the spring, but that the summer months are a bit of a problem. And the way that I have found over the past year is to really focus more on the present season and celebrate it really for what it is and not bemoan it for what it is not. This worked particularly well for me during the summer months, and I've done that by really paying attention to nature. I've got a few nature books, one of which I'll share with you in a moment, that have really helped me connect with nature. Drawing has helped me connect, listening to nature podcasts, and walking has been a huge part of 2021, to get out there and just notice the changes in the seasons. I will continue that definitely into 2022, and I hope to share more walks with you this year. Dan's bought a drone, so I'm hoping that's going to open up a whole new perspective on the filming that we can do on those walks. And I want to share more of my reflections on nature and the changing seasons with you. And my changing hair, I'm getting it cut on Monday. It's really bothering me. My fringe has got so long, my hair's too long as well. It's getting really hard to manage, but I'm getting it cut on Monday, at last. Anyway, I want to share with you some of the things that have worked and have not worked for me this year. So I'm going to start with a little thing that I bought at the start of 2021. My rain monitor. Now, I bought this because I really love the idea of logging the weather and comparing it year on year. And I bought this, it was really inexpensive. I just got it from eBay for, I think it was less than £4. And it just has a sharp point on it which goes into the soil, and it has millimetre measurements on it. Yeah, I can't film something see-through, it would seem, but trust me, it's got millimetre measurements on it. And you pop it outside, and I set myself a reminder, and every week I would go out and I would write down the measurement of rainfall that we'd had that week. And at first that worked really well. It was quite fun, it was quite interesting, but it very quickly became a chore. And then come the spring, I kept accidentally watering it. So I was making all the measurements inaccurate because I would be watering all the plants. Oh no, I watered the rain monitor again. I can't take a reading this week. And then in late summer when we got our chickens, it became one of their favourite items of rainwater collection to drink from. So they were completely skewing the results as well. So very, very quickly became a bit of an unsuccessful venture. And also I found that noting rainfall wasn't something that I found satisfying. But something that did work for me this year, which reminds me of something I haven't grabbed, hang on. So over the past 10, 15 years on and off, I have been keeping 5-year diaries. You can't actually really see the title on it because it wears off, but I think, oh, it's 1 line a day. I believe that these are still available on Amazon, and I shall put a link to it underneath if you're interested. So basically, without showing you my diary entries, you get little pages, and the same date has 5 different little spaces to write. So each year you can see what you were doing the year before, 2 years before, 3 years before. And what I did last year was I noted, every now and then I noted the daily temperature. And when I came to write in this year, 2021, I found that the most interesting thing to look back on. So that really worked for me, was noting the temperature in my daily diary that I do anyway. So I'm going to continue to do that so I can compare temperatures year on year. I find that just something that helps me manage my anxiety in the summer, knowing what the temperatures were, what they became when it started to get cooler, and so on. So that was something that really did work for me. So temperatures noted in my diary worked, rain monitor didn't work. And kind of related to that, something else that didn't work for me, and I really wanted it to, was the Almanac journal by Leah Leendertz. And I bought this because I absolutely love and adore Leah Leendertz's almanacs, and I still do. This hasn't, the fact that this didn't work for me hasn't put me off the almanacs. And in fact, I've got the 2022 one here. And a lot of people ask when I talk about this if it's just for the UK. Yes, it is. I don't know if there are other almanacs by different authors that cover your part of the world, but this is specifically written as a seasonal guide for the UK. And that's what it looks like. This is the 2022 one. Every year she has a different illustrator, and every year there's a slightly different theme. Last year it was Romany gypsies and their traditions throughout the year. This year it's folk traditions, and there's always something of the month. Last year I think it was a sauce of the month, possibly. Oh no, pilgrimage of the month. The year before was sauce of the month. The first one I got was cheese of the month, and this year, my favourite so far, biscuit of the month, and it includes a recipe. So, and this is something that I am dedicated to throughout the year. I love the almanac. I can't imagine not having it. But the journal didn't work for me. I found it clunky and difficult to use and a bit awkward, really. It just didn't make sense to me the way it was set out. I did put little tabs to help me navigate, but yeah, overall I did start filling it out with the weather log and so on and things that I found, but it was just too clunky for me to work with. So I'm a bit annoyed because obviously it's a little bit of a waste of money and paper, but I know now that this kind of thing wouldn't work for me. I'm much better off constructing my own ways of monitoring things than having something prescribed. Had a bit of hair in my face then. But what did work for me in terms of keeping a yearly journal, even if the Almanac journal didn't, was starting to keep sketchbook journals. And these are quite personal to me. I have these are 3 of them. I've got another 2 floating about somewhere. And I just got into the habit of using this in a way to record drawings of things we did throughout the year. So this was when we had a day out in May down in our favourite seaside place on the Kent coast, Westgate-on-Sea. And I drew some of the houses when we got home from a picture. This postcard is a Turner image from the Tate, and that was from, I bought it on a work trip when we went on a blah 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 words. We went on a day trip to Margate basically. This is Dan and Phoebe having breakfast when I was at my stepmum's. This was a watercolour I did of a house in my stepmum's village. This was our family celebration that we invented called Him Empeño Day, and this is a little diary entry and sketches from that day. And I had a bit of a sketchy day out at the Friars in Aylesford, and then this is just me mucking about and just practicing and keeping a diary and doing whatever I blinking well want. And occasionally I just write a little diary entry. This was in July and August. I drew the fan because we just had them on constantly. And yeah, just lots of things like that I found incredibly helpful across the year. Unfortunately, the last sketch in this was on Monday the 9th of August, which is one I did when we were in Scotland, of the Airbnb we stayed in, which you can watch a vlog about on this channel. And I haven't picked up my sketchbook since. And it was really working for me. I absolutely loved it. I have a little one that I keep just for doodling, and that normally lives by the sofa. And then this is one I keep in my rucksack that I take when I go to work. So if I ever have to wait anywhere or I'm in a cafe, I just do tiny little sketches in a pub, on a day out with the family, at work when I was covering the landing. I was just practicing, and I don't remember doing this. 7th of August, packed ready to go to Scotland, watching Ravens home. I don't even remember doing that. Little sketching to see Phoebe's foot in the sketch there. But it's little things like that, and I loved it. But come August, that was the last thing I did. And I never picked it up again. So this is going to feature in my year, because this really worked for me, and I don't know why I stopped. Something else that didn't work for me in 2021 was my little attempt at creating trackers for things, like habit trackers, in the style of what a lot of people do in their bullet journals. Now, bullet journals are an absolute necessity for some people, I know that, and I absolutely love seeing what other people are doing, but it's not for me. It's not for me at all. I did it for a few months. And it became a chore. It didn't make me feel happy. It didn't make me feel satisfied doing it, and I stopped after May. So what I was doing was I had a colourful little tracker which I slightly changed every month to track things like drinking water, not drinking, being in bed on time, getting plenty of sleep and exercise, keeping on top of the housework, eating my 5 a day, and so on. But it wasn't working for me, so I stopped doing it. Something that did work for me though, and this is in no way a promotion at all, it's just something I found last year very early on, was an app called NutriCheck. Now, I can't show you without showing you all my membership details. I just wanted to show you their logo. But anyway, it's a really good app. I just use it for tracking my food. It started off as a bit of a weight loss thing, and I did lose the bit of weight that I wanted to lose, and I've just been maintaining it ever since, basically. But I find it really helpful to use to track how much water I'm drinking, and to check that I'm getting my 5 a day. And I've also got it set to help me track my sugar intake as well, to make sure I'm not eating too much sugar, and I found that really helpful. That is not a promotion, it's just an app that I like. There are loads of other apps like that, probably free ones as well, but it worked for me. And something else that I did in this little sort of habit tracker was I created a page, which I was really pleased with, for books that I read throughout the year. And I've got to update it actually, because there's some other books that I've been reading or have read that I haven't added to this. And I will complete this pile. So I had a list of books to read, and then I had a pile of books here that I'd drawn, and every time I read a book, which doesn't always match the list of books to read, I added it onto here and gave it a star rating, which is a lot of fun to do, but again, I quickly kind of lost interest in doing it in this way. I forgot that I read London, You're Beautiful. That was really good. Really good, that book was. It was by a sketchbook artist, but called David Gentleman. And yeah, I really enjoyed reading that. I got it from the library. Anyway, I'm not going to keep doing this. I've yet to decide how I'm going to track my book reading, but this was altogether too complicated for me. I'm currently using a combination of 2 apps, Goodreads and Bookshelf, until I work out which one of those I prefer. And I'm using them to put the books I've read or I'm reading on, and then any books I remember that pop into my head that I know I've read in the past, I'm putting on there as well, because one of the problems I have is I forget if I've read a book. So I'm currently reading The Strawberry Thief, which is a follow-up to the book Chocolat, and I can't remember if I read Chocolat. I'm pretty sure I did, but now I'm like, did I just see the film and not read the book? I'm sure I remember reading the book, but I'll get onto that in a minute. So I'm going to abandon that. And also something that might work for the year, because the other thing about doing this kind of pile of books and drawing is I didn't find it motivating to urge me to read. And I was talking to my friend Sarah, who has the Yarn Mugs channel on YouTube, and she reads a lot, and I asked her for a few tips, and she said what she does is she takes the number of pages in the book and divides those over the number of days she wants to read the book in, and she tries to read a book a month. So I've done that with my current book, The Strawberry Thief, and it's really working. I worked out if I want to read this by the end of January, I need to read just over roughly 10 pages a day. And I've been sticking to that and sometimes reading more. Now that I've got a kind of idea in my mind of how many pages I should read a day in order to finish the book by the end of the month, I feel less overwhelmed by it. I love reading, but I do struggle to fit it in because I don't commute on a train anywhere, and I don't have any time to just sit quietly and read until I get into bed, by which time I'm usually so tired I barely have any time. But I can do 10 pages. I can do 10 pages a day. So thank you, Sarah. That tip is working hugely. Brilliant. And also I just found out that this is actually the 4th book in the Chocolat character series. It's Chocolat, and then there's 2 more books, and then there's this one. So I might have to go back and start all of them again. Who knows? Something else that really worked for me this past year was the book Everyday Nature by Andy Beer. You can't see the cover of mine because I've got a beautiful handmade cover that my friend Gaynor made for me for my birthday. It's all hand embroidered on linen. Gaynor has the Tales from Cuckoo Land channel. It's called Everyday Nature, and it has got an entry for every single day of the year. So here's January, so you can hear January 1st, 2nd, 3rd and 4th I think we've got there, and it has an entry about something in nature, whether it be a plant, something that happens, a bird, an animal, an event, geology, a celebration. There is something nature related for every single day of the year, and I've dipped in and out of this all year long, and I'm really looking forward to going back to the beginning and doing it again. I have found this a really lovely way to help me connect with the seasons, and I'm really glad that I discovered it. I will put a link to it underneath if you're interested. I know many of you bought this book after I mentioned it, and I hope you're enjoying it as much as I do. I guess not keeping up with the best laid plans isn't necessarily a bad thing. The best laid schemes are mice and men going after Gly, as Robbie Burns said, whose birthday is in January. Another reason to love January. 25th of January is Burns night, and we always celebrate it, and I absolutely love it. Yeah, to go have things not go quite right for you just means that you know to eliminate those things, and you can discover the things that do work for you in the process, and discover a little bit about yourself, what you like, what works for you, and so on. So I'm pleased to be able to reflect on that and look forward to the things I'm going to do this coming year. We're all a work in progress after all, aren't we? It is properly dark, so hopefully my camera will focus on me, and this will be all right. I just wanted to share with you really quickly some books that I got. The first one was my friend Kay, and it is Draw Your Day, and I'm really looking forward to getting stuck into this. I've read a few pages already and I love it. It is by Samantha Dion Baker, and given what I was saying earlier about trying to get back into my sketch journaling, I think this is going to be a tremendously helpful companion throughout the year. So I will keep you updated on that, let you know how I get on with it. But thank you, Kay. What a perfect gift. The next one is called A Year in Cronenberg, Sweden. It's by Jeff Dunn. Do not adjust your screens. That cover is printed blurry. I have no idea why. And it is it's one of those stories about moving to another country. So he spends part of his time, I think, from what I've read about the author, he spends part of his time in Sweden, part in France and part in the UK. And I loved, when I was about 16, I read A Year in Provence by Peter Mayle, and I loved that real life story of moving to another country, and I'm hoping I'll get a similar thing from this. So I'm looking forward to that one this year. And I will keep you updated and let you know what it's like. And finally, and that one was for my stepmom. She asked for an idea for Christmas. I'd accidentally come across it on Amazon. So I said, could you get me that? And she did. And then from Dan, I asked for Happy Inside. It is by Michelle O'Gundahin. She is an architect, TV presenter. I think she was the editor-in-chief of British Elle Decoration, I think. And this is a book about finding a way of making your surroundings, your home, work for you, regardless of space, money being in focus or anything else like that. And it was the first quote in this book that really resonated with me. And I will read it out to you, hopefully in focus. Peace. It does not mean to be in a place where there is no noise, trouble or hard work. It means to be in the midst of those things and still be calm in your heart. And yeah, that's something that I would really like. I do like my environment to be clean and tidy and decluttered. I do a lot of work on that every day, week to do that, and I never feel like I quite get on top of it. So it's a little bit daunting. One of the first things she suggests you do is make a list of absolutely everything you own in every room, including things like curtains. Can't see myself ever having the time to do that. But I'm going to persevere with it anyway. I've used that trick and divided the amount of pages for the rest of the month and see if I can get through it. I'll probably be a bit slower with this one, but I will let you know if I learn anything interesting. So those are my 3 books that I'm going to share with you today. I hope you've enjoyed this little reflection on the past year of what worked and what didn't, and I'll see you again in the next vlog. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again next time.